This episode is brought to you by the members of the You Run Podcast Network. A place where everyone is a loved member of the podcasting community. To link up with these shows and find your next podcast addiction, visit YouRunPodcast.com.
You want to die tonight?
Late at night, I tune into your show, where you talk horror with a unique flow. Your voice is like sirens, draws me in, as you pick apart movies on murder and sin. Scar and marks at the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Mark's fucking long roundups. You run podcast, horror movie review, sharing facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after you fled. You run podcast. You run podcast.
The hell was his problem?
My first guess, inbreeding!
Inbreeding! Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott
And my name is Mark.
and we are a weekly interactive horror movie review show where you pick the movies every single week. You also get to have your say in interactive features. We play games. Just all in all, we're a fun, happy podcast to be a part of. Today, we've got a great episode lined up. We're going to give you our review of a movie and our scores before we dive into everything we liked and everything we hated about the movie, which I'm going to be honest, for me, on this rewatch, I hated more than I liked, which surprised me. After that, we've got some interactive features and we have a game, which I'll be honest, we wrote this episode 2 and a bit weeks ago. We've had a stag do and all sorts. So I am going to be as surprised as you are when we get to the game, because I can't remember what it is and it's further down in my notes. Today we're looking at a movie that, in my opinion, is surprisingly held in massive high regard, and it's Jeepers Creepers from 2001.
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers is a fuck around and find out story that follows Darry and his sister Trish as they encounter road rage on a backwater country road. After this, they find a creature that rises every 23 years for 23 days to feed on human flesh and absorb people's body parts. Like I said, this is held in really high regard, despite the director being a convicted paedophile. I think the practical effects are subpar to other movies of this time. The plot is very basic. Now, I hadn't seen this for a very, very long time, and I remembered enjoying it when I first saw it. But honestly, I think this film has got a reputation far beyond what it delivered. And I think it's got more potential than it actually delivered. I think beyond Justin Long, the acting is mediocre at best. It tries to ride a line between playing it straight and all-out comedic moments. And for me, a lot of the comedic moments fall off a cliff, or the moments that are meant to be serious, I find myself laughing at. Like the big killer for me was the mannequin, the practical effect mannequin that is literally a mannequin with some paint on it. And I can't get over the fact that the creeper sniffing boys' boxers before stalking them and doing nefarious things to them. It kind of feels to me that it's almost like self-reflective of the director. And I found it really difficult to get over that on this watch, knowing a lot about the director now, like Victor Salva and what he'd done, and watching a monster that he's created sniff a boy's underwear and then hunt down, like, it really, really fucking bothered me. I don't think it's very good. I think it's paced badly. I think it's directed badly. I think it's badly written. I think it's a complete rip-off of It, Pennywise the Clown, even down to the fact that it kind of needs you to be scared. It feels like a creature feature biopic of a really awful man. I don't know why I liked this before. I don't know how it spawned so many sequels. I'm going to give it what I think is a very fair 1.5 out of 5.
That, Sebastian, I did not expect you to give this movie, I'll be honest.
The thing is, if you'd have asked me 3 weeks ago before I rewatched this, wouldn't have bashed it. I'd have been like, yeah, Jeepers Creepers, great creature feature, like really like this, really like that. It was on this rewatch, things were just niggling at me. It started with the like iffy practical effects. I'm like, they're not great. And then some of the acting, especially like the townsfolk, like in that bar, they're like, oh no, the phone here doesn't work. And Justin Long is putting in the fucking performance of a lifetime. What the fuck do you mean it doesn't work? No, it's broken. I'm like, oh, this is bullshit. And then like the more I look at the creeper and how much he's almost like a projection of that paedophile behind the camera. I reached a point where I nearly turned it off. I was like, fuck this movie. Also, the fucking psychic. The psychic who
she's dreadful as well. Like, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I didn't expect to have to come in here and have to defend Jeepers Creepers, in all honesty. Like, I didn't really enjoy my watch with it that much either. I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm angry about it like you are. It's one of those just mediocre B-movie creature features that has more glimmering aspects to it than it does the negatives, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of shining moments and stuff in there, cool sets of kills every now and again. I think conceptually and the lore surrounding the creeper is really enticing. Yes, again, it is better conceptually than it is in execution. You're right in that standpoint. And I don't think it's held up particularly well. I think some of the practical effects works pretty cool. I like a lot of the set design that's going on here. The scene in the police station at the end of the movie, I completely forgot was even there, and I really liked that. That was pretty cool. Again, like you, I haven't seen this movie since the mid-2000s, you know, and I always vaguely remember enjoying the first one. But you are right, Victor Salva is a piece of shit. He's more of a piece of shit when you try and break down some of the stuff that he insinuates in the second than he does in the first. I don't know how the fuck he managed to be able to get away with it, in all honesty. No. But again, it's a different time in Hollywood, I suppose. But I'm one of those people who can very much separate the art from the artist, you know, and I think that's something you have to do. There's a lot of people that work very hard on this movie and put a lot of time and effort into it, you know, and just because of one person, that doesn't mean the rest of the creative force behind it should be culpable as well. So for me, I'm willing to separate his input from the rest of the production and can still enjoy it on a baseline without incorporating those things. But you are right, there is a lot of insinuation within this movie that feels very self-reflective of his vision and his desires within young boys and men. And it is very difficult to overlook certain aspects like that. In terms of my score for the movie, I'm very middling on it. You know, I'm neither here nor there. I think one of Jeepers Creepers' biggest faults is it doesn't lend itself well to being deconstructed in a podcast format. You know, if you switch your brain off and just watch it for what it is and tune in and out, I think you're going to have a really, really good time with it. But if you're going to sit there and you're going to break it down scene by scene and dissect the actors' performances and the script and the dialogue, you're going to pull this movie apart because there is more wrong with it than there is right. But I didn't begrudge watching it, and it's not a movie I'm going to turn around and say I'm never going to watch again, because that wouldn't be true. You know, for what it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it will be a very long time before I think, ooh, I'm going to go back and watch Jeepers Creepers. However, it is a movie I will watch again, and I think the Creeper himself is an icon within the horror community, and rightly so. I think he's a cool horror villain with some cool sort of like powers and lore that surrounds him. It's just a shame he hasn't got the movie he deserves for the status that he has within the community. But for me, I'm middle of the road. You know, I think I'm not even middle of the road. I'm sort of like just slightly above. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. You know, it's not perfect, but I understand why it has its fans.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like there's some stuff in here that I think is really fucking cool. The Creeper's van, for one of them. The Creeper when he's in human form and he's like, looks like he's wrapped in the jacket, like all of that stuff looks great. Like visually, his silhouette against a moon, fucking spot on. Justin Long in this, considering it was his first major leading role, is incredible. I think he's fantastic. I think the girl who plays his sister is pretty good. It's
she's not.
it's everything else around it that's not. Like, if you took the Creeper and Justin Long and told a separate story and removed all the other bullshit that went with it, I think I'd be much more on board. It's like I can separate art from artist when there is a separation to be had. Like, if someone's done a bad thing and they make a movie, like, I can separate the bad thing they've done. What I struggle with this is I look at the Creeper and I just look at him going, yeah, that's it. Sniff his boxers. And I can't that's the issue I have. That the Creeper is so close to how I envisage Victor Salva actually is. That's where I struggle with that separation.
Yeah, 100%. And I get that, and I get your reasoning behind that, and it makes complete sense to have that stance upon it. And again, like I said, like, if you break it down in those elements and deconstruct it in that way, yes, it's a very problematic movie.
It really
but it's
is.
Jeepers Creepers, and it's a creature feature from the mid 2000s that doesn't require that level of deconstruction. And that's why I'm saying this movie doesn't lend itself well to being reviewed. It's a late night, turn it on, and it's halfway through on Sky, and you just continue watching it and enjoy your time with it. You know, you're going to pull it apart. You're going to walk across problems quite easily, I think.
Yeah, which is what we do on this show. So, hey, if you're if you're a huge fan of Jeepers Creepers, today's episode may be a rough run for you.
Tracking lines and fuzzy screens, the wildest sights you've ever seen. From car boot sales to rare finds too. Garrett brings the past to you. Video Tasty's the place to be. For cult films and retro TV. Dust off the tape, hit play today. The West Wales shop, here's a click away. Saturdays are for the spooky vibes. With Chrissy D and Nino by your side. From cryptid legends to the ghosts of old, there's a brand new mystery to unfold. Paranormal misfits, the show you need, where the strange and the creepy take the lead. The Bisties are waiting for every ghoul. Join the misfits and break the rules.
So be sure to head over to yourunpodcast.com. On there, you'll find links to every single member of the You Run Podcast Network. I think we've got 20 shows in total now, covering everything from TV and film through to dating, through to horror movies, through to true crime. Like, there's literally something for everyone. Every one of those shows is really well vetted. They're all really nice people. They all put a lot of work and effort in. So go and find another show that you really, really like. Literally pick one at random that you like the cover art, click on it. You can listen to it straight on the website. And if you're looking for a specific review, we've added a feature to our website now where you can click on the show you want. There's a search bar at the top. Search for the movie you want. If they've covered it, it's going to pop straight to the top.
Oh, that's convenient.
It's really convenient. It's also a feature that very few podcast platforms have. Even Spotify doesn't have that feature.
Oh, that's very cool. How unique of you, sir.
I thought so. Also, make sure when you're on our website that you click on the links to all of our social media. We're at You Run Podcast everywhere. Instagram's where you get to go and pick the movies for this show. You'll also get interactive features across all podcast platforms, across all social medias. I'm starting to do a thing now where different social medias are getting different content, which has never happened before. So instead of now posting 6 pieces of content that's the same across everywhere, if you follow us on TikTok, you're getting 6 different pieces of content to what's being posted on Instagram, which is different to what's on X, which is different to what's on. It's chaos. But you need to
imagine. How the fuck are you finding the time for this shit, man? Have you got Bernard's watch?
Yeah, I actually have. That's how I'm doing it. So you can find the link to our Patreon, which is the most exclusive thing ever.
It's very exclusive. You wouldn't understand.
So you need to go and subscribe to that. On Patreon, you get extra shows, like extra shows of me and Mark doing weird and wonderful stuff. Extra show of me and Heather. You get early drops of this show with no ads, so you won't listen to this bit. And you get just extra stuff, constantly extra stuff, exclusive content, exclusive reels. Like, it's just full of stuff. I also read something this week that if you praise your listeners, they are more likely to go and subscribe and pay to be a Patreon member. So we're going to do that now. So if you are a female listener, please go and subscribe to our Patreon and
A good girl for daddy.
be a good girl for daddy. And if you are a male listener to the show and you are thinking about subscribing,
Are you a good boy? Yeah, you're such a good boy for me, aren't you? What a good boy.
so go and be good boys and
What's wrong
good
with you,
girls.
man? You know that.
My first guess would be a lot. That's what's wrong with
Yeah.
me. So go and subscribe to our Patreon. There you get everything else that you possibly can. Tell a friend, rate, review us, do all those wonderful things. And I think after that amazing advert, me and Mark are going to review this movie. The opening of this is, I don't know. I find the opening before they see the creeper, Justin Long and his sister have the dynamics of a dying dog.
I don't know. I find their brother-sister relationship quite realistic. I have siblings. I have two sisters, and I get it. Do you know what I mean? I find it quite relatable. But one thing that's bothered me for getting on for nearly 20 years now is I do not understand the rules of this fucking game.
No.
I don't get it. I don't get how they get to the conclusions they get from the number plates they see. It's bothered me for fucking years, and every time I watch this movie, I still don't understand, and it makes me feel like I'm missing something and I'm really stupid.
I think the idea is that you take the letters of each of the number plate and you make a word for each letter that makes a sentence. I think that's what they're doing, but it's a really shit game.
It's a fucking terribly shit game if that's how basic it is.
Yeah, like we play a game. We play yellow car. When you see a yellow car, you hit someone and you get a point. That's what we play in our car.
Yeah, or mini punch.
Yeah,
See a mini. It's the same thing. You've just got to pick a rare vehicle that doesn't pop up too often.
yeah. We used to do minis, but you can't do minis anymore because minis are rare as rocking horse shit now.
Yeah. Especially the old Mr. Bean type, yeah.
Yeah, you'll do like a 5-hour journey and there's only 1 point scored between 5 people in the car. It's crap. Yellow car's good as long as you don't go past a construction site because yellow diggers can. I like the first encounter. I'm not going to lie. This first encounter with the creeper in his van behind, like just right up their arse and like almost running them off the road and honking his horn. Brilliant, because this would scare the fuck out of me on a country road.
Yeah. I think the thing is as well, like we don't have the level of isolation. Something we're going to talk about on next week's review, actually, in more depth, I suppose. But with this in particular, one thing that I find when I watch a lot of movies that are like set in America and set in like Australia and so forth, where they have such long stretches of desolate land, you know, where you can drive for hours and hours in a straight line and not see a single person. You know, we don't have that here in the UK.
No,
It's I mean, you live what 4 or 5 hours away from me, and we think that's like the end of the planet in scope. Whereas like for somebody in America, like some people drive that just to get to work.
which is insane to me. Like we drove up. We'll talk about it later when we get voicemails because we have voicemails about my stag do. But I drove up to Liverpool for the stag do. That was 6.5 hours, and that to me was like the furthest I'm ever going to drive ever because it just took. It was like a mission. Like fuck doing anything longer than that ever.
Yeah, I was working in Scotland last year. No, it was last year now. And I had to drive from mine up to the top end of Scotland, and that took me like 7 hours and 45 minutes to the point where I felt like I deserved a medal for doing so. You know, I was like, what an achievement. I've just driven 7.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's nothing in comparison to some of the things that these people do in these countries and the landscapes that they have. Like, I would love nothing more. We always spoke about one day doing like Route 66 as like a trip. But the more I think about it and the more I get in my car some days, I'm like, you know what? That doesn't sound that appealing to me anymore.
No, and I think Route 66 Route 66 concerns me because you're going through places like this.
Yeah, and I've seen the Hills of Eyes, and I've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you know what? I don't think I fancy it anymore.
No, I don't either. So they basically they pull over, the creeper goes past, then they drive past the creeper, dumping what looks like a body down a pipe.
Mhm.
Now he spots them and gets up on the road. What fucking engine has he got in that massive van?
It is
That,
supercharged to shit.
like they're going like foot to the floor in a car. He's in a vehicle that's like 2.5 tons of just rusted steel, and he's catching them like he's Lewis Hamilton. I didn't understand how.
No, it's rapid considering that the car they've got's quite a sporty sort of Mustang thing anyway. Yeah, it can shift.
It,
Got to suspend disbelief, I think, with this movie on a lot of levels, this being one of them.
yeah, I think so. I'm going to ask you now. After this, you've had your 2 interactions with the creeper. You've
Mhm.
seen him throw what looks like a body down a shaft. You don't know he's a monster, but he's a 7 foot tall bloke who's built like a fucking tank. Would you go back and go and have a look down the pipe?
You see, I'm in a bit of an interesting predicament right now because usually I would have said yes. However, weekend events have unfolded. And
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if I can back that up anymore.
Yeah, see,
I would. If I felt like somebody was in danger or if there was a body down there and I was like going to uncover this fucking mass serial murder, I would want to know, you know? I feel like the curiosity would get the better of me. The reaction I would have doing so is a lot different to what I thought it might have been up until recently.
yeah. So one of the things we done on my stag do was a haunted, not haunted, a horror escape maze. There's actually a clip of Mark that I'm going to play. So this is Mark in the Exorcist themed Contained in Liverpool.
uh, what the thing is like, it was a really, really cool thing to do, but I don't think I was prepared for the way that I was going to react to it.
I wasn't prepared for you almost jumping into my arms like a damsel in distress multiple times.
I remember holding the hand of your young son and squeezing the life out of it.
And if you go over to our Patreon, you get to see some videos and stuff of what we done while we were away. I definitely wouldn't go back. Justin Long does go back. This is where I have the issues with the practical effects. Not so much on the creeper. I think the creeper looks pretty good. The bodies in this like 16th chapel of gore, honestly, it looks like they've gone to like a costume shop and bought the cheapest plastic dummies they could and just given them a quick lick of paint and thrown them down. That body he lifts up, it's just a mannequin.
I didn't think it was too bad. And I think the thing is, as well, for me, it's always one of those like, I just imagine them being waxed for preservation. Do you know what I mean? That's the way my mind sort of saw it, is like they've been, what is it? It's there's an episode of Hannibal, which is a really, really cool episode. Did you watch the Hannibal TV show?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode where the guy's making the mural and then you go
Yes.
to the top of this corn mill and look down from the top and they make an eye, but he's spraying them with the it's like a
Yes.
liquidized wax thing to preserve them. I always just imagine that, and that's my pass for the way that they look in this. You are right, they do look a bit mannequin-esque, but in a way they are. It's practical effects, which is one thing that I was grateful of. It was a practically built set and it did look cool. My only issue in this scene in particular was the body that was thrown down the hole when he's opened up looks like the blue zombie from George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. You know, he's fully blue with like some really crappy like Frankenstein stitching on him, and he's alive and wakes up. And I'm like, no, dude, you're dead. Like, don't.
Yeah, there's some odd choices here. A really odd choice. So, who do you think Victor Salva wanted to cast as the creeper? Approached him and was told flat out no. But who do you think it was?
I mean, given the clientele, I feel inclined to say somebody like Jeffrey Epstein, or
No. So he approached Lance Hendrickson, who's obviously from
that would be
Pumpkinhead.
cool. That would
So
work really, really well.
And Lance Hendrickson has never gone on record as to say why he said no. But when I was looking for information on it, Lance Hendrickson just said no. Didn't even consider it, just no.
But you see, the funny thing is like everybody always thinks Victor Salva had got done for all his crimes and stuff later in his career. He worked for Disney before he did Jeepers Creepers, and he came out that he was a convicted pedophile whilst working for Disney before he even made Jeepers Creepers. And he still went on to have a career in Hollywood. He got to make Jeepers Creepers 2, a lot of other independent projects that he's worked on throughout his career. Being a convicted pedophile did not ruin this man's career, which says a lot about Hollywood prior to the Me Too movement that we've experienced in the past 10 years. You know, people like that got away with this shit.
Yeah, and it's so it's disgusting, and it's also weird that that's been allowed to happen. So Justin Long and his sister decide they're going to go and report it, and they go to the diner.
No, they don't go to the diner, do they? Because he fell down the hole. Justin Long's in the hole for a while.
But he gets out of the hole fairly easy. Let's be honest.
How did he get? I can't remember how he got out because he didn't climb back up the pipe. He just appears at the car, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly that. Just like he like appears with his sister, like fucking, let's get out of here. I mean,
the thing is, it does show you the set design in the way that he's gone down the chute, and that's like the layer. But then it also shows you light at the end of the tunnel, as if to say, like, if you go to follow the tunnel, it'll bring you to the house, up through the house, and then out of the house. But I would have liked to have seen the house. I would have liked to have seen the journey. I think, to be honest with you, this movie could have been quite self-contained within this one location, and I would have still been into it.
100%. I don't think it need anything that comes after here, where we go venturing off and we go all sorts of places. I don't think any of that's needed. So they go to the diner. Justin Long playing genuinely traumatized. I think he does it really well. And they're like, can we make a call? And the woman's like, yeah, it's over there. This is where we have that really bad acting. Like, yeah, the phone's there. Just make the call. And they get they're like stood by the phone. They get the phone call from the fucking psychic. I can see into the future. She's so weird.
She's like the Oracle from the Matrix. And that's not just because they're both fat black ladies. They are literally like the same person.
She is a different actress. If anyone ever watched the TV series Bones,
no, I know she's a different actress. I wasn't being like you guys all look the same. I was just saying, in comparison, they are both like the same character.
It's in the future.
Yeah, she's the lady who plays the lawyer or the Crown prosecution in Bones. If anyone's watched that series,
nobody's watched Bones.
I've watched all of Bones, but that's
but you're currently watching Vampire Diaries for the 6th time. Your credibility is 0 at the moment.
It will be finished when I've done this recording. Lisa will have finished it, and we can move on to something else. It's my pick next.
You need to. I've been worried for you for quite a while. It's a really dangerous place to be in when you get stuck in a TV series that's like 12 seasons long, 28 episodes per season.
The worst thing is, like, when I pick a series, I take, like, the last series I done was Welcome to Derry. It's one series, it's relatively short, it's done, it's over, it's finished. Then Lisa's like, what's got 29 seasons that's going to take fucking a year and a half to watch? That's what I'm picking next.
A mate of mine did that with Suits. I've never watched a single episode of Suits. I think it was I think he caught like an episode on Dave reruns once, and then like tuned in from season 1, and then like 12 seasons later, I remember going for a beer with him. He's like, dude, like I'm like, dude, just turn it off. Just don't watch it. He's like, I can't. I'm in it now. I'm in.
I've got to see how it ends. So Darry is the Justin Long. His name is a tribute to Derry, as in Stephen King's Derry.
Cool.
Not to Stephen King in there. And
I don't know if Stephen King would be proud of that, knowing Victor did that for him.
No, and anyone who's curious why Facts are back this week, when I said we were going to do Facts as a separate thing on Patreon last week, oh my good God, did you let me hear loud and clear that is not what you wanted?
Oh, really?
Oh, man. Yeah, like absolutely slammed.
Yeah, I think that's fair though, and I have to back the audience and the listeners on that. We always said from the off when we started this show that Patreon wasn't going to be a thing, and then when we did decide we were going to do Patreon, we always said it was never going to affect this show. It was just an additional side project that if you guys wanted to contribute to, you could, but we were never going to separate you from everybody else on Patreon. And so far, we've stuck to that. So I'm kind of glad they've shouted from the rooftops about it, and I'm kind of glad you've backed down and decided not to do so.
Yeah, the thing is with a you run podcast, if a listener wants, if listeners want things, I can't just go no, because that defeats the entire point of being the you run podcast.
This is very true. Yeah.
The police turn up and start the investigation. Like these cops, where the fuck did they get these actors for these cops? They are diabolical.
Yeah, the scene in the diner where they're trying to calm them down. Justin Long's like, "Are you fucking serious right now?"
And the thing is, like, while they're having that conversation, you then got the woman in the window going, "There's a man in your car," and they go out there. And they're all outside, and the woman's like, "That man was sniffing your underwear." And his sister's like, "Why the fuck was it sniffing your underwear?" He's like, "I don't know, and I don't like it."
I just love how like the police in this instance are so incompetent. They might as well just be a bystander like everybody else. They don't do anything. They don't cordon anything off. They don't tell people to get back. They're just as in shock as everybody else. And I get it. It's like an isolated small town area where nothing ever happens. And I think that conveys pretty well that the police are clearly very much out of their depth in this movie. But it's just comedic to watch.
Yeah, and the police are like, "Oh, we'll take you back to the station," and that back to the station moment where the creeper kills the two cops, those
this.
kills, great.
I don't, this is the
Absolutely
thing,
brilliant.
like the kills as well, as cool as they are, I think the set design is so incredibly done in this movie, and the lighting is particularly well shot as well. The fact where he decapitates a police officer from the top of the vehicle, cool as shit. But it's the scene afterwards with the moonlight pounding down, and you've got like that sort of drive-by billboard in the background as he's just sniffing the skull and licks the tongue out. Again, when you think about it in context of the fact that it's Victor Salva and it's a man's head that he's doing this to, it doesn't sit very well. But the fact is, the scene itself looks really, really good. And there's a lot of scenes throughout this movie that do that. Just to highlight a few of them, the roadkill scene, which we'll dive into a bit more later, the cat lady scene, another one is particularly impressive. I think all of the scenes where it's shot on nighttime with the moonlight backdrop are incredibly well done, you know. And from this point on, we do continue to get quite a lot of them throughout this movie.
Yeah, and the cat scene lady's next. Like they go to this farmhouse seeking help. I love this woman. Little old lady, they knock on her door. She comes out fully loaded with a fucking shotgun. Like it's very much like, "What the fuck are you doing on my property? You're scaring my cats." And then there's like they have this moment where they have this like, little back and forth and argument, and then they're like, "There's a scarecrow." She's like, "That's not my fucking scarecrow," and just starts taking pop shots at it with the shotgun, and it's the creeper.
But again, like this is cool though, because
yeah,
if you completely detach from the fact that we know what the creeper is and we know what this movie's about because we've had it for generations now, but before the first time you watch this, up until this point, we're under the illusion that this is just a man.
Yeah.
But she shoots a scarecrow, the thing jumps up into the sky across the top of the roof of this woman's house, and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is that? You know, like this is our first sort of, because we haven't seen his face yet. We've not seen what he looks like. We just think it's a man in an anorak with a cowboy hat on, and he's fucking dope as shit. But then now we're like, well, normal people can't do that. So this isn't a human we're dealing with. And it really alters the perspective of what kind of movie we're now watching.
Yeah, and I also like the shot where she sees the scarecrow and it's lit by the moonlight from behind. It's got like the orange glow from the lights of her house. Like it looks cool. And when she shoots it and it like moves, like she jumps back and then she shoots it again and then it does that huge jump into the air. Like this whole sequence, I think is brilliant. I also like this is where we get the full reveal of the creeper's wings. And his wings,
kind of, because before that, so again, this is another scene that again I think is particularly well done in this movie. The lady runs into the house, you hear the gun go off, and obviously Justin Long and his sister are stood outside thinking, what the fuck's just happened? Maybe she shot it. And you see her slowly coming towards the door. And then as the camera's looking at the door, you see her coming towards the door, but then it cuts to the inside of the house and you see her feet sort of like levitating almost a foot off the floor. You're like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on now? And then as it gets closer and closer, you realize that the creeper has like stabbed her Michael Myers Halloween 4 style with the shotgun, and he's lifting her towards the door. And that's when the door flings open and you get the first glimpse of his face, and it's like a gray, scaly, zombie looking thing. Incredibly well done scene, you know, and I think it dives so much into that mysteriousness of what the hell is going on with this movie. And I think as much as this movie is loved by fans, I just don't think it holds up great on a rewatch, because that initial shock that you get with the changing dynamic is gone on a rewatch, you know. But I still, to this day, remember the first time I watched this movie and the roller coaster of fucking wildness that I went on, picking apart what the hell this creature was. And then, as you say, now we get to the next scene. They're belting down the road, and he lands on the roof of their car. I think they brake, and he tumbles off onto the front. Yeah. And then they reverse over him 2 or 3 times, and then that's when his wings pop out of his back. And again, it's another one of those moments like, shit, this gun can fly as well. What the hell is happening in this movie?
This moment where she mows him down and then she stops, and I'm like, don't stop. And then she slams it in reverse. I was like, that's what you do. And she does it so many times, like backwards and forwards. And then like it's just wing like pops out and it looks like part of his jacket. It just flicks up. And like him like clicking himself back to get like all of this, great. Really
trying to fly away, and then she finally runs him over that one last time. And you think he's dead at this point. Like, you genuinely think he's dead, to the point where they do the whole Wile E. Coyote thing as they focus in on his mangled body. Like, every part of his body is flat with tire marks, to the point where like, there's no coming back from this.
Yeah.
We get to the police station and you just see him like hobbling in, but not to the point where he's like fully healed. Like, he is still mangled, barely walking, in an absolute mess. And then this is where we get the reveal from the Jedi Matrix lady, who comes in and explains all the law building that we need, and explains to us the 28 days, 28 months, all that jargon. And then the next thing we know is the reason why he's doing this, as we sort of like go into various cells in the police station, and he's there just gnarling on all these people locked up in the cell. And as he's wanting certain elements, like he's eating someone's arm, and then the next thing his arm just like just grows a new arm. I'm like, oh shit, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, conceptually I think it's really, really cool. Also the bald cop, so you know, the one who like basically tells the psychic to fuck off, like go away crazy,
the man behind the desk. Yeah.
Do you know who he is?
No.
It's Jonathan Breck. That's the creeper. That's the guy who plays the creeper.
That's cool.
Cool. He plays the creeper and he plays the cop.
I didn't know that. No. And now I do know that. I'm not going to be able to unsee it, because he's got a very distinctive looking face as well. I've seen him at like a few like Comic-Con panels and stuff like that. It's a shame they didn't get him back for the last one that they did.
Was it Reborn? Reborn was atrocious.
I haven't seen anything past the second one, I'll be honest with you. It's a franchise that, like you say, it's had its heyday, and it needs some sort of cleansing to be able to rid it of the stigma that's attached to it, I think.
Yeah, the problem is Victor Salva wrote and created the character and owns the rights to it, so no one's going to be able to do anything with it.
I don't know if that's true anymore. I think he did, and then I think he got them stripped from him from part 3.
Oh, okay.
For some reason. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he got them taken away. And it's something really wild. Like Francis Ford Coppola's production company owns the rights to it now.
Oh, I'd let Francis Ford Coppola do this. Fuck, that'd be a different movie.
And I think with the latest one, something like his niece or his daughter is the one who sort of like got it all up and going. This is going back to a podcast I listened to about 3 years ago about Jeepers Creepers, and they were a lot more thorough in terms of facts than we are. And they were telling me, I'm pretty sure Francis Ford Coppola, because he has a production company that turns out some fucking jargon, man. You hear Francis Ford Coppola and you think, wow, the man, you know?
Yeah.
But his production company is responsible for some of the most shitty B-movie horror films imaginable. And I'm pretty sure he owns the rights to Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna have to go and double check it. I need to
Yeah.
fact check it, because if that's real, that's amazing. The confrontation where the creeper finally gets to Darry and Trish tries to sacrifice herself in his place, and he does the whole thing where he goes up to, he's like, and sniffing on her. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. I've got a real thing with any monster. Like, it happens in Alien 3 where the xenomorph gets right in close and has a good. I've got an issue with being sniffed. Like, I don't know what it's.
What
Something
weird
about
thing to have an issue with.
no, it's something about people sniffing people that fucking just puts me on edge. I'm like, if someone sniffs someone else, I'm like, you're a fucking weirdo. You're a wrong, and there's something wrong with you. Why are you sniffing them? And in this, the creeper's like, he sniffed pants earlier. Now he sniffs the girl. And I'm like, oh, I just don't like this. And then he like sniffs her. It's like, no, you're not a young boy. And then he takes Darry and fucking flies away. But that whole bit where he's like right in her face, like genuinely creeps me out. I don't like it at all.
No, I get it. It is Space Invader kind of stuff. I'm a big advocate of like, don't get too close. Not that I'm an issue with sniffing per se, but I don't like people getting too close. But regards to the complete narrative flip of him taking Justin Long as opposed to what would be the standardized final girl, if you will, is a pretty cool and unique take on what we're used to seeing. I don't think it's the ideas there within this movie, but I don't think it's fleshed out very well. I don't think it's executed as well as it could be. You know,
No.
I think Justin Long as a character goes through too much within the movie for the impact of him being the one that's taken by the end of it for it to have any sort of real sort of gut wrench of a moment, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Also, Francis Ford Coppola does own the rights. Originally, the creeper design had male genitalia. It had a cock.
Oh, really?
Had an on-screen cock. And Francis Ford Coppola, who at the time was just an executive producer but now owns the rights, advised Victor Salva that the creeper with genitals would divert the public's attention from the fact he was scary. Like, he goes from being scary to, oh my God, look, he's got a cock.
Well, yeah, it's the same as 28 days, 28 weeks, 9 years. All the people are talking about the fact that he has a giant cock, not the fact that he is the most alpha of the zombies within that universe.
Exactly. Do you know the only place it's ever worked, and both you and me pretty much applauded, is X with Kid Cudi, where he stands in that doorway and you get a silhouette of his third leg. Like, I was like, do you know what? He's a porn star. He's got a massive wang. It works. It works in the movie for me.
The thing is, for me now, you're going to go on this massive rabbit hole of what kind of movies Francis Ford Coppola has produced, given the guy's credentials. Because he's done some dog shits from his company, I promise you.
Victor Salva dug his heels in and said no. So the creeper still has a cock, but they made it smaller. And then Francis Ford Coppola insisted that his crutch was covered with hair so you couldn't see it. So the creeper costume has a penis covered in hair, which bizarre.
White. One thing we didn't really touch upon before we got to the final moments is the shootout in the police station, which I think is really, really good. I like the sort of
bit on the stairs is cool where he climbs.
Yeah, and then he just rips his hand through and kills that police officer, and they're all just guns blazing, and they go up to that room before he finally takes Justin Long, and there's that big standoff, and the coppers burst through the two-way mirror. It's all really, really cool stuff, and the reason why it was such a standout for me this time around is because I completely forgot it was there, in all honesty. Completely forgot all this police station stuff happened from the last time I watched it. So I think that's the only reason why I wanted to bring note to it, was because it was refreshing for me to see it this time around.
Yeah, and something we skimmed over is all the way through the movie is the song Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers, let me get those people. Like,
again, annoys me.
I'm not a big fan of it, but it's a loop that happens all the way through the movie, and like the psychics, like, when you hear this song, it's really bad.
But how?
I don't know.
How and why, right? Like I'm all for everything within this movie. They don't need to tell me that he's a demon hellspawn or he sold his soul to the devil and this is how he has to live for eternity. I can make those logical jumps myself. But the fact that the dude has an intro music when he's going to kill somebody, I'm not buying into it. All right. I'm not buying into the fact that every radio station on the planet automatically tunes into this dude wanting to kill somebody.
Well, you say Michael Myers has his own theme tune.
He does, but it's not a case of he turns around to Jamie Lloyd and says, "Oh, listen, if you hear enter Mr. Sandman on the radio, it means he's coming." You know what I mean? Like when you're introducing that into real world events within the movie, that's when it becomes questionable. If he had that as his sort of, I don't know how the actual tone of the song itself goes to where you could manipulate it into a theme song for him. And whenever he's on screen, he has it, like the Michael Myers theme or the Jason Voorhees. Do you know, like I'd get it, but the fact that you're incorporating it to the point that it's applicable to real world events is not cool, in my opinion.
No, it's very weird. I mean, the movie ends with Trish watching the sunrise as it cuts to the abandoned factory. And you see the creeper like working away, and then you see Justin Long's face, like carved out face, and the creeper puts his eyes into Justin Long, and that's the final shot.
I do like the introduction of the factory, I will say that, because one of the big lingering questions for me when Gina's in the police station is like, you know where this dude's gone, you know where he's taking him back to, why are you still in the police station? And then obviously then it cuts to the fact that he's now moved location due to the events of the movie, and I'm like, all right, yeah, cool, fine, he's starting again.
Yeah, and for that final shot, it wasn't Jonathan Breck in the creeper costume, it was actually Justin Long, because they needed Justin Long's eyes to look through.
I did hear that somewhere.
Yeah, 4 hours 40 minutes it took him to get the makeup on, and another hour and a half to take it off for a 30-second shot.
It was worth it though. I think it's one of those lingering shots at the end of the movie that kind of pays off. I was expecting it to be a lot more jumpier than it was. I had this vision in my mind where that was like the final jump scare, but it wasn't actually at all. He doesn't come into camera fast enough. It just sort of creeps.
Yeah, just
not for lack of a better word. He kind of creeps behind the skin suit.
He Jeepers Creepers is his way into the shot.
He does. He Jeepers Creepers his way into the shot, as opposed to actually like having a final jump scare moment, you know.
Yeah, Justin Long also said it's his favorite Halloween costume that he's ever worn, and he's never had one as good since.
Why did he go trick or treating after this? Or
no, but apparently, like when he put it on, he stood in the mirror, was like, "Oh, this would be cool as shit." To like Halloween, like this is the Halloween costume I need. But yeah, didn't get to keep it on. But yeah, for a 30-second shot, like 6.5 hours worth of makeup on and off is a lot.
Yeah, but I imagine he would have had fun in between that. You know, he's walking around, prancing about, moonwalking on set, singing songs and all the rest of it, dressed up like that.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to keep my score at a 1.5. It's airing on a 2, but yeah, this movie's not great for me.
Yeah, no, I'm going to keep mine the same too, to be honest with you. I think 3's a more than fair score for this movie. If anything, talking about it makes me want to amp it up a little bit, because some of the stuff that I have discussed regarding set design and some of the scenes in terms of lighting and some of the executions with the kills are really, really cool. But I just can't justify it based on the incorporation of some of the stuff that Victor Salva's done. And as much as I protest this, that I can separate art from artist, like we've already discussed, when the artist does incorporate so much of his sins towards his narrative, it's very difficult to try and separate, you know. Like I can watch Lord of the Rings knowing it's a Harvey Weinstein produced movie, and not be like, oh my god, I can never watch this ever again in my life.
Yeah, because Aragon's not there doing a fucking casting couch, that's why.
Exactly, you know. But then when you take something like this and you can't help but notice that the director's put so much of himself into the movie, that's when it becomes an issue. And I think there are moments throughout this film that are glaringly like that you kind of think, dude, why?
Second one's far worse.
Second one is far worse, in my opinion. Not so much subtly. I think the thing is like a lot of the stuff here where you've got the sniff in the underwear and the fact that you can piece together why he's going after the male and stuff like that. The dialogue in the second one is amped up to 11. You know, some of the teenage boys on the bus in particular, when they're talking about like, oh, he's got a thing for you and things like that. And it's rough. You know, there's rough moments in that movie when you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy the sequel in many ways. I think the kills are a lot better. I think the laws developed a lot better. I like the Creeper getting a bit more creative with his weapon set and things like that.
The second one's where he gets the fuck off great big axe, isn't it?
He's got the hatchet and shit, you know. There's some cool stuff within that film. And I think the two of them make a great pairing. They really do. But for me, that's kind of where the franchise ends, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We have some voicemails. Let's start with this one.
Hey guys, happy Friday. I know it's your stag do party this weekend, so hopefully you guys have a lot of fun. Scott, be on your best behavior. Don't do anything stupid. You're 44, for God's sake. Have fun.
Well, you're older.
Enjoy yourself. Also, I sent that reel because like Adam Scott seems to be on the rise in these new horror kind of psychological thrillers, so I'm kind of excited. I like Adam Scott a lot. And anyways, I just wanted to say, have a good weekend. Also, I listened to Pumpkinhead, and it was very good. I think it's one of our best episodes that we've done together as a throuple. Okay, anyways, y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. Bye.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Heather, I was stupid. I actually have another clip of me and Mark discussing whether we had too much to drink.
You're not drunk.
I'm not drunk.
He's not drunk.
I'm actually not drunk.
He's actually not drunk.
I'm not drunk.
Woo!
Do you know what the most annoying thing is about hanging out with you in real life? Right.
What? That we get silly.
Yeah, because right, the thing is, like, I can get like really, really drunk to the point where I know I'm drunk, but because me and you get drunk on the same wavelength, to the point where like you don't feel like you're being stupid in the situation, because when you're both really drunk, you both feel at ease in the situation you're in. So like we're both just ultimately rising together to the point that there is no line of stupidity to be crossed. And that's why I find it really difficult spending time with you in the real world.
Yeah, and the thing is, it wasn't just you and me. It was you, me. It was both my kids. It was Jim. It was Adam. And all of us got stupidly drunk at the same pace.
Yeah.
And by the time we'd reached Alcatraz, like the wheel, we reached Alcatraz at like 7 o'clock, and the fucking wheels were well and truly off. The wheels had fallen off the wagon.
I fell off in Alcatraz massively.
You were so funny. Mark, so when Mark booked it, Mark didn't fully understand or appreciate that it was borderline cabaret with cocktails. He was expecting
it's not the event I planned, I'll be honest with you.
No, and when we walked in and one of the guards was like pretending to play the violin while doing a jig, you lost it, and you were laughing continuously for what?
I cried tears for a long period of time. It was I can only apologize for what I put you guys through. I really can.
Every single person who was there, it was the highlight of the night.
Well, good for all the wrong reasons.
100% for all the wrong reasons, mainly because of your sheer level of embarrassment that you're like, I am so sorry I brought you here, and everyone's just dying laughing at you going, no, it's fine, like this has made everything worthwhile. It's so good. We have more messages.
So I've just finished the extra episode because I didn't finish it and I forgot about it, but there you go. And boxing sounds awesome. But why don't you make a full card and do a proper event? I'd be happy to come in and fight with somebody.
Mate,
I'm sure there's a few people who'd love to have a pop.
Yeah, call it now, mate.
Well, you can't have two fights. You can't get. You
Yeah,
can't
I'll
get.
double up for the evening. It's fine. You're no sweat to me, mate.
But-
I'll do Dave, and then I'll come do you after.
This sounds very much similar to your confidence levels going into the Exorcist scare maze. Yeah, I ain't scared of nothing. 2 minutes later, like cowering on. There's a bit within the Exorcist escape room where you're taken into a separate room and you leave items behind in the first room. And there's a moment where you have to go back into the first room that is now plunged into full darkness to get those items. Did you go, Mark?
I wanted to, but because it was your stag do, I felt it'd be wrong to take that experience away from you. So I obviously was like, "Look, mate, I'll wait here. You go and do it."
Yeah, that's exactly how I remember it. I also don't remember you popping through and poking your head and going, "Are you okay? Come back. It's been ages."
It's scary, man. It's scary. I tell you now, it was fucking terrifying. Like, and the thing is for me, like, I'm not a person who's usually scared. I know that's hard to believe now, given what's just happened, but I'm not usually. But I think it's one of those situations where you just know it's coming. You know they're going to get you, and like you spend the whole entire time be like, when? I'm really nervous when you're going to do this.
The thing is, they got us as soon as we walked in the door. All of us were fucking like nearly in tears, jumping in the air, screaming. We'd been in there less than a minute.
Yeah, I was shattered by confidence by the end of that. It ruined me. I'm not going to lie. It really did ruin me. So for anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to go and check out that place, I would highly recommend it. It was a good laugh. It was a really, really good laugh, and it was a great way to kick off the day, I think.
Yeah, go to Contained Liverpool. Tell them You Run Podcast sent you. Maybe they'll sponsor us. Who knows?
Exactly.
Let's do our final voicemail.
Oh my gosh, Scott, Mark, I'm glad you guys are still alive. I love that Jim was there. That's a lot of fun. It looks like you had a great time. I really wish I could have like a full video of it, but I'm pretty sure I didn't want to see half of what was going on. But it looks like y'all had a lot of fun. I was literally almost crying laughing because there's like a still shot or whatever of I think your stepson. So Lisa's son, his face. I was just like, oh my God, Scott, you drug these poor young men into this bullshit. But anyway, it looks like you had a lot of fun. I'm glad y'all are both okay. I guess y'all are both recovering because that's what you get. You can't fucking party like you're 21 when you're 43 and some change. And then Mark, I forget how old you are. 30, not 32. Are you? I don't know how old you are. Anyways,
Yes, that's
y'all have a good day. Hope you recover. That shit was hilarious. Release the full video. Okay, bye.
No.
I can't believe she said I'm 32. That's an honor. Thank you, Heather. I wish I was 32 years old. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But that feels like a lifetime ago now, I'm afraid.
You partied like you were 22.
In that club, I was dropping it like it was fucking hot, my friend.
You were.
I pulled some stuff, and my leg the day after, it was bad. I was limping for a fair few days.
Yeah, it was really bad. And to give people some context, we started drinking at 11 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
And we got back to the Airbnb at 4.
Yep.
And we didn't stop at any point.
No, and we were drinking the night before as well. So
that was a mistake.
Why
did we do that for?
Because you text me, it was like, oh, by the way, I'm picking up beers, so there'll be beers in the fridge when you get here. So like the first night, which was just supposed to be a down night where we just stayed over so we didn't have to drive in the morning of the actual event, we stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning necking beers to the point where we were already rocking on like 3.5 hours sleep for the actual day of the stag do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's crippled me the most is the fact that the whole weekend we ran on like 4 hours sleep over the space of 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and I was drunk consistently from about 7 o'clock on the Friday through till whatever time on the Sunday. Like I was just smashed. It was
like
good.
I don't believe in the theory of hair of dog where you have like a beer to like rid you of your hangover. But when I got back on the Sunday, I had to go and have like a beer. So I was like, it's the only thing that's going to shake me from the situation that I'm in right now. And it did. It worked, to be fair. I don't encourage alcoholism in the slightest. However, that's the first time I put it to the test, and it does work.
Yeah, I went with the tried and tested. I come in, said hello to the kids, said hello to Lisa, gave Lisa a little bit of information of the weekend, sat on the sofa to watch a film with the kids, and slept for 6 hours. That's how I approached it. Let's do 3-word review. Heather, who you've just heard from, I see fun. Okay, I like that one. Dewey Pod Monster, creepers all over. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Duanamum, major stranger danger.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Skelly, Justin's first death. It was.
Yeah, was it? Oh, was that his first on-screen death of his career?
First
He's racked up
on-screen.
a tally since then, obviously.
He's up there with.
He's not quite Sean Bean level, though.
As I say, he's up there with Ned Stark. He's pushing that level. Lumberjay, be eating you.
Again, don't get the game, Jay. I don't get it. So, like, what's the number plate that he's got?
BEY. It ends in BEY. Be eating you.
Be eating you. That's a weird leap to make. Like, I get it, but like if I said to you, like, you have to string me a sentence with BEY, the last thing you're going to say is be eating you, isn't it not?
Yeah, it's probably the last thing. I'd probably go with beer everywhere. Yes.
Perfect.
Beware the Moon, never watch again. Dissect That Film Pod. Creator sucks ass. Yeah. Randomly Eric, Mark's nemesis, who is not really a very nemesis here at the moment.
No.
Went with fuck Victor Salva. The Emporium of Retro Funk, made by a wrong'un, and Michael Wardstack went with directed by paedophile. So yeah, everyone's kind of on the same wavelength. I said at the beginning we've got a game that I didn't remember what it was. I genuinely didn't. So if you give me I need a soundbite while I just have a quick read of what the game I created almost 3 weeks ago was. Hold on.
Are you a good boy? Yeah, you're such a good boy for me, aren't you?
Why would you go with that
What
again?
a good boy.
Okay, right. The game is it or is it Creeper? There are so many similarities between Pennywise the Clown and it, and Jeepers Creepers and the Creeper, that they're almost impossible to distinguish. So I'm going to give you a fact, and you need to tell me whether it's the Creeper or whether it's it or whether it's both.
Are we talking Tim Curry or are we talking Bill Skarsgård, or does that not matter?
Either. It's irrelevant. It applies to both. So the first, it is described as an eater of men.
That is Pennywise.
No, that is Jeepers Creepers. Pennywise is an eater of worlds.
See, that's the thing. I know the phrase eater of something. I've never heard that associated with Jeepers Creepers, although that is what he does, literally. I thought it was... I went with the catchphrase as opposed to what the actual thing was.
It is weakened when its victims are no longer scared of him anymore.
I know 100% that's Pennywise, but does the fear thing apply to Jeepers Creepers? Because I can't remember that being a thing. It was something where he could just smell what he needed from them, be that certain limbs and stuff. So I don't think the fear necessarily contributed to the fact that do you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't smelling the fear, he was sort of smelling the goodness within them of what he wanted to take from their body. So I'm just going to say Pennywise as a safe haven for this.
Yeah, that's correct. It's based off a real life killer.
Ooh, that's interesting. I can only imagine that Pennywise is, to a certain degree, because neither of them will logically have... Actually, do you know what? No. If I think back to the podcast that I listened to 3 years ago, I think I remember them cross-referencing an actual true crime case. And I want to say Missouri, a killer from Missouri or something like that. I think it's Jeepers Creepers. I think the influence is Jeepers Creepers for this one.
It is the Creepers, based off of serial killer Dennis DePoo, who's not a nice guy. At the end of the story, the creature is not dead, but dormant until it rises again.
Read that sentence again, because this applies to both, I think.
At the end of the story, the creature is not dead, but dormant until it rises again.
So I know that applies to Jeepers Creepers because it's a 20-something year cycle thing. And I think with Pennywise, it's the same sort of thing. Although, have they not changed up the law on this with the new Welcome to Derry thing, where you can now time travel and shit? Or has he always been able to time travel?
You could always do that, technically.
Right. So, yes, I'm going to say both as my answer for this.
Yeah, it is both of them. It has set times between when it rises and when it rises and when it goes back to sleep.
Yes. Does Pennywise?
Oh, pardon me.
Well, doesn't he? He does. He's every. I don't know what his time frame is, but I'm assuming the kids. He's got to be within 20 years based on the movies.
Are you asking me, or
I
you
know, I'm
telling me?
asking. Yeah, no, I'm asking. Genuinely asking because I know it applies to both, but I don't know the time scale for Pennywise.
Yeah, I think Pennywise is 21 years. No, Pennywise is 23, Creeper's 27, or the other way around. I can't remember which
The other way
it is.
around, because this is 23, 23, 23, I think, Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, but yeah, Pennywise is every 27 years he rises, which is the series is following that, going back in time.
So right, I know we're going way off topic now, and I haven't seen It Welcome to Derry, and I can't imagine that the finale episode is going to explain that to me either. How does he time travel to the point? Because like he can like just move around in certain periods of time and go back in time and kill Richie so he doesn't grow up and do what he did, and then go back and kill Richie's mum so she doesn't have Richie. And
it is basically he's an omnipotent being, so he exists in all times at the same time. So what's happening in like 1963 is happening at the same time as what's happening in 2013. Like he's across all times all the time. Think like the Avengers, where all the timelines move together. He's on every single timeline.
Right, okay. As one entity or variant of him. Is Pennywise a variant?
No, just one entity across all of them. He exists in all times at the same time.
Right. But only every 27 years.
Yeah, it's confusing as fuck. But when you watch the series, you're kind of like, it's a little bit like when you first watch Back to the Future, or you watch anything that's got complicated time travel. When you're watching it and you're in it, you're like, yeah, I get it. It works. But then when you try and explain it, it's like, it's riddled with so many holes. Like, there's so many holes in it.
Does it work though in the TV series? Is it like you can piece? Like, I know you're a big Stephen King guy and you've got the source material to back and forth from, but can you actually like dissect that as somebody who doesn't and has just watched the TV show and the movies?
Yeah, the TV series Welcome to Derry is so good.
I need to check it out. I really need to check it out because I've heard such good things, and it's coming back as well for season 2.
It's leaps and bounds better than any of the movies or the previous mini TV series, in my opinion. It's really, really, really good.
Cool.
Right, back to this. Where did I get to? It is genderless, although frequently adopts a male appearance.
This is Pennywise. Had you have said that prior to the fact that you told me the creeper has a little willy with a hairy bush, I maybe would have answered differently. But yes, I'm going to go with Pennywise.
It is Pennywise. It targets victims based on their scent of fear.
Pennywise.
It's both of them.
We had this conversation like 2 minutes ago, and I said fear was irrelevant.
No, so the fear is relevant to him, but it's not. It doesn't weaken him if it's not there. It's the smell of the fear that allows him to smell what bits they've got. They need to be afraid for him to smell.
Right, okay.
What he needs. It lives in an underground lair.
I don't know where Pennywise lives. I know. Oh, yes, I do. In the movie, he has a lair where all like the fucking scrap metal and shit and the deadites are floating. So he has an underground lair. Jeepers Creepers has his underground bunker thing where the coffin is. I'd like to know more about the coffin. I don't know if the movies dive into that at any point. I don't think they do in the second one, that's for sure. But I'm going to say this applies to both.
It does apply to both. You got 2 more. It keeps bodies as mementos of its previous victims.
Oh no, because right. So in the movie, they're all floating, right? Aren't they? They're
Yeah.
all floating. So that's like a memento. Would you have said?
Yeah.
So right. So that applies to Pennywise, and then again, the Jeeper has them all up in like his citadel ceiling. So yeah, again, both.
Yeah, but both. And finally, the town they reside in is mostly oblivious to their existence, barring the victims and maybe one person in the know.
That applies to both as well.
It does. And I made this game just to emphasize.
I can tell. The closer we were getting to the end of the quiz, I was like, oh, okay, this is your way of showboating. I get it now.
Yeah, it's my way of showing that Victor Salva just ripped off Pennywise and made him a creeper, not a clown. It is that time of the day. It is my favorite time of the day, your favorite time of the day, and Mark's favorite time of the day.
He's the king of the spool, the lord of the stack. If it's on magnetic tape, there's no turning back. From the floor to the ceiling, he's a mastermind hoarder, keeping analog alive on the edge of the border. Rewind, right under the static flip. It's Mark, VHS from the crypt.
And you didn't panic. Normally you do this whole jump up and panic thing, and you sat there all calm and collect.
I'm pretty organized this week. I leapt up just to grab a second edition just to fill in from previous weeks, to be honest with you. But no, obviously this week I'm going for Jeepers Creepers. I have my Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 VHS set, which is glorious. I really like the cover art for both of these. I think one in particular is really good. I speak to a lot of people, especially American people, who have the NSTCC versions. The cover art is nowhere near as good as what we got for the UK European PAL release. And that's every time I post this on my Instagram page, they always comment and say, "Oh man, that's such a cool cover."
I've never seen that cover.
Oh, have you not? No, it's really
No.
cool. So you got your Justin Long, you've got your sister, and then you've got the tunnel in the background with the two of them looking down it, which is really, really good. And then obviously on the sequel, you've kind of got his wings and then like a face pushing through the skin of his wing, which is really, really cool. I like these tapes, they're cool. But yeah, that's it. The only other thing I really wanted to show, which was what I was supposed to show last week, but didn't arrive in time, unfortunately, which is why I went down the granny route, which again had its benefits, was Pumpkinhead 2.
You've got
Revenge of Pumpkinhead. It finally arrived just a day too late, unfortunately. So this was what I was supposed to showcase last week. I bought this particularly for that reason. I didn't buy it so I could showcase a Pumpkinhead tape, because obviously I would have just bought the original Pumpkinhead, but I'd watched that in preparation, so I didn't need to buy it immediately. But I bought this because this is a sequel that follows on directly from the first. And I was like, well, if I'm going to watch anything first, it's probably going to be part 2. So I bought part 2 on VHS. Very cool tape. I wish it had come in time for me to show you. I've heard a lot of people say that this is actually better than the first, which I'm yet to see.
A lot of people have lied to you.
I don't know. A lot of people love this movie. So this is The Revenge of Pumpkinhead Bloodwings, which is going to be strange for me when I get to a certain point where I have to alphabetize my collection, because in the UK, the first movie, Pumpkinhead, is not actually called Pumpkinhead. I think I spoke about this on the episode. It's called Revenge Demon or something like that. However, yeah, so there you go. That's what I should have showed you last week, but I didn't. I showed you Granny. We got the announcement we're going to get Granny eventually, which, again, good times. So yeah, Pumpkinhead. And that's it for this week, guys.
Okay. Make sure you go and follow Mark. He's at VHS from the Crypt on Instagram. Do you want me to keep plugging your reviews from the Crypt, because you've not done much on there for a while?
No, I am going to get back into it. So, I mean, you don't need to do it for now. I tell you what, why don't you do this? Why don't you not do it? Why don't you not advertise it to the point where I actually do something, and it might incent me to go and do some reviews? I have a backlog of like 50 reviews that I want to get out, and I love writing and I love reviewing, and I really take a lot of pleasure in the fact that I get the opportunity to do so, and people actually genuinely like when I do it. But life's been chaotic. I've just had another child. The show's kind of gained a momentum where we've got the Patreon and stuff like that. So I have to take in a lot of content. And as I've already said on this show before, I don't want to drop reviews simultaneously with episodes that we're bringing out, because then what's the point? You might as well just go listen to the episode as opposed to reading my review. I'm just saying the same shit here as I would if I wrote it down.
Yeah.
But time is becoming a little bit more freeing. I do have more free time to now watch movies, so I will get back into picking the obscurities that I once did 6-7 months ago that I used to review, and I am starting to write a little bit more than I used to. But again, it's one of those. It's just life, you know. And it's one thing that I don't want to discourage completely, because I really enjoy doing it when I get the opportunity to do so. So give me time. I will get back to it. But I tell you what, don't advertise it. And then I might be like, oh, a bit gutted he's not advertising that page anymore. It might encourage me to do so.
Okay, so go and follow Mark at VHS from the Crypt. That's his only account. The only one you need to worry about is where it's all his VHS stuff, and you'll find him on Instagram. That's it for this week. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. It genuinely helps us. Like if we get 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, for example, we will jump like 50 places in their charts. Like reviews are the most important thing you can do for us. Recommend us to a friend. Next week we are going down under, well down under, to the Australian outback, specifically to Wolf Creek. I'm excited.
For me,
you are?
First time watch for me is Wolf Creek.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I've tried. Don't get me wrong. I've tried with that movie numerous times. I think maybe three times, and I've struggled to make it past the first 20 minutes without turning it off.
Wow. Well, next week's going to be interesting then. So tune in for that. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys. See you next week.
You want to die tonight?
You're on podcast. You're on podcast. Late at night, I tune into your show where you talk horror with a unique flow. Your voice is like sirens, draws me in as you pick apart movies on murder and sin. Scott and Mark set the scene. I hang on every word, lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Mark's fucking long round ups. You're on podcast, horror movie review, sharing facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grin long after you fled. You're on podcast.